Welcome to this explainer. Okay, if you're a focused learner who has ever just beaten yourself up for feeling unmotivated, stuck, or literally incapable of peeling yourself off the couch, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're exploring a totally radical, incredibly empowering idea on how to overcome laziness. What if our entire standard view of it is just completely wrong? What if it's not some character flaw you have to punish out of yourself, but rather a vital, deeply intelligent signal from your own mind and body?
So to figure this out and truly conquer that inertia, we've mapped out a comprehensive mind, brain, and body toolkit for you today. Here's our agenda. First, the truth about laziness. Then, your inner tug of war. Third, the dopamine motivation trap. Fourth, the 5-second rule. And finally, putting it all together. We're going to look at the deep root causes and give you actual, concrete steps to overcome that heavy feeling of resistance for good.
All right, Section 1. The truth about laziness. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this by fundamentally redefining what we're talking about here. The everyday medical definition describes laziness as a disinclination to activity or exertion, despite having the ability to do so. Basically, just lacking energy or motivation, right? But when we look at this through the lens of depth psychology, we get a much, much richer picture. Laziness isn't just an empty tank, it's a profound psychological and physiological signal. It's your internal communication system screaming about extreme fatigue, nervous system overload, or a deep misalignment with your actual values.
As depth psychology author Scott Jeffrey brilliantly puts it, laziness isn't a flaw, it's a signal. I want you to really let that sink in for a second. I know that guilt you might be carrying right now, but let's reframe it. Your internal system, it's not broken. It's actually acting exactly like the check engine light on your car's dashboard. When you feel lazy, your body and psyche are actively trying to protect you. They're forcing a recovery period that, well, you haven't voluntarily given to yourself.
Moving on to Section 2, your inner tug-of-war.
Now, what's fascinating here is this intense, silent battle happening right inside our psyche. On one side, you've got the achiever archetype. This is the part of you that completely believes busyness equals self-worth. It gets super anxious when you're just sitting there idle, mostly driven by our modern culture that constantly praises the hustle. On the flip side is the lazy archetype. This is the shadow twin that steps in and basically demands recuperation to restore equilibrium when the achiever pushes you way too far. The catch? Because we judge that lazy side so harshly, we try to push it down. And as you probably know, whatever we suppress only comes back stronger. And when we suppress our natural rhythms and refuse to rest, laziness doesn't just pack up and leave, it mutates. It turns into what psychologists call the 8 faces of laziness. You'll probably recognize a few of these. It masks itself as confusion, just not knowing what to do. It becomes neurotic fear, a fixed mindset that's literally terrified of failing. It can be crushing physical lethargy, deep apathy, regret that it's somehow too late to even start, a false identity where you just slap a lazy person label on yourself, or even overwhelming shame. Each of these faces is a symptom of an unmet need, and every single one requires self-compassion to fix, absolutely not harsh criticism. So, the crucial takeaway here is that true balance requires actively befriending your laziness through self-compassion and conscious rest. Fighting your resistance? That just fuels it. If you constantly beat yourself up, your brain's threat centers literally light up and keep you stuck. But treating yourself kindly actually boosts your accountability. It quiets down the amygdala and frees up your prefrontal cortex so you can actually plan and follow through. Seriously, giving yourself permission to consciously do nothing for 10 minutes is usually way more productive than an hour of guilty forced effort.
All right, Section 3, the dopamine motivation trap.
Now that we've tackled the psychological mind, let's shift gears to the neurological brain. Dopamine is the chemical in our brain that handles motivation and reward. But in our modern world, we are constantly bombarding our reward systems with cheap, quick highs. Think endless social media scrolling, high-sugar snacking, non-stop gaming, or even just having constant background noise blaring all the time. When you flood your brain with these intense stimuli over and over, it completely dulls your natural sensitivity. Your baseline motivation just plunges. Suddenly, it takes more and more extreme stimulation just to feel normal, and you're left with chronic boredom and absolutely zero drive to do normal, everyday things.
The neurological antidote to all this is a dopamine detox, basically consciously reducing external stimuli to de-stress the brain's reward system and bring back your baseline joy. Now let me be super clear here. A dopamine detox is not about rigid self-denial. You don't have to pack up and move to a cabin in the woods or make yourself miserable. It's just a mindful reset button for the brain. It's about turning down the volume on all that digital noise so your brain can actually start finding joy and motivation in normal, everyday effort again.
To actually put this into practice, the experts at Biogenna have this fantastic, super actionable guide on how to clear that neurological noise. You can try creating mobile-free zones, like just leave your phone out of the bedroom entirely. Practice mindful eating instead of instinctively grabbing those highly flavored processed snacks. Try moderate sports rather than exercising just to chase a massive high. How about seeking pure silence occasionally instead of drowning your thoughts in constant music or podcasts? Add in a little meditation and create clear morning routines that start your day with real intention, not a glowing screen. You can even support this whole neurological reset with micronutrients that nourish your nervous system, like magnesium, B vitamins, and omega-3 fatty acids.
Okay, moving to section 4, the 5-second rule.
All right, so we've calmed the psychological mind by listening to our signals, and we've reset the neurological brain by dialing back the stimulation. But in the real world, how do we physically get the body to start moving when that heavy wave of hesitation hits? Well, the answer to physical momentum comes down to just one number: 5. This comes from the incredible work of behavioral expert Mel Robbins. She discovered a ridiculously simple yet scientifically profound tool for taking decisive action, cutting through self-doubt, and building everyday courage.
And this method brilliantly illustrates exactly how to outsmart your own brain. It's just 3 steps. Step 1, you feel the impulse to act on a goal or a task you know you need to do. Step 2, you immediately count backward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Step 3, you physically go and take action the split second you hit 1. You literally have to move before your brain has a chance to hesitate or conjure up excuses. This countdown physically interrupts your habit loop, a procrastination. It requires focus, which fires up your prefrontal cortex, releasing the exact activation energy you need to bypass fear and just start.
To really ground the science of taking immediate action, let's step back for a second and look at how spontaneous action can quite literally change history. Think about Rosa Parks. On December 1st, 1955, after a really long, exhausting day at work, she felt a spontaneous impulse to resist injustice, and she simply refused to give up her bus seat. Had she paused for even a few moments to weigh the massive risks and plan it all out, her resolve might have wavered. Her brain totally would have tried to talk her out of it. Acting on a spontaneous impulse without overthinking and without hesitation can catalyze massive change, not just in history, but in your own personal life too.
And that brings us to section 5, putting it all together.
Let's tie this all up and see how this builds into a cohesive, life-changing strategy. Here is your ultimate masterclass toolkit summarizing everything we've talked about today. It's a true mind, brain, and body approach. Number 1, listen to the psychological signal. Stop shaming your laziness and get curious about what it's trying to protect you from. Number 2, reset your neurological stimuli. Clear out the cheap dopamine from screens and sugar so your brain can actually find motivation naturally. And number 3, when it's time to act, count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to force behavioral action. By accepting the signal, clearing the noise, and pushing through the hesitation, you hold complete control over your momentum.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative question to really ponder today. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what is your laziness trying to protect you from right now? Is it burnout? Is it the fear of failure? Or maybe it's a goal that just doesn't align with who you truly are anymore. Remember, your mind isn't fighting you, it's trying to talk to you. Listen to it, use this toolkit to reset, and take your power back. If you truly want to know how to overcome laziness, it starts right here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next explainer.